Now and forever, we bring IT to life.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by. Good day and welcome to the Remedy 9 Upgrade Options conference call. Today's conference is being recorded. All lines will be open and interactive. We ask that you please utilize your mute button when not speaking to cut down on background noise. At this time, I would like to turn the call over to your host, Mr. Greg Keough. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Paula, and everyone. Welcome to the Remedy 9 Upgrade Options conference call. My name is Greg Keough. I'm a lead technical support analyst within the BMC Remedy Service Support Department. Myself, Doug Reif, and Basil Faruqi, we will be taking you through some of the Remedy 9 Upgrade Options and paths today. And now I'll turn it over to Basil.
All right. Well, thank you, Greg, and I appreciate you organizing this, and appreciate all our attendees today. So Remedy 9 is definitely an exciting time here for us at BMC, and we feel it's something new and exciting in the industry, and will really help shape the landscape for service support in the industry. So today we want to take some time and share with you some of the Remedy 9 upgrade options that are available. So a quick run through the agenda. We'll have talk about the agenda, the upgrade options today, then we'll talk about some of the upgrade paths, and then references and Q&A at the end. So before I talk about the upgrade options, I want to talk about that we actually did some research, some study around what does it take for our customers to upgrade? You know, what are the different segments that our customers fall in when they're upgrading? And we found the key learning from that study was that we really found customers were in two different stages in their upgrade path when they were thinking about an upgrade. One was where somebody had just maybe heard from their CIO saying that, hey, there's some budget and I think we can do some application upgrades, and Remedy is going to be one of them. So at that point, that team of Remedy administrators is thinking, okay, the last time we did this was several years ago, and what do we do to get started? And then we found a second distinct stage where people had done some UAT, they had done some planning, and now they were in that final stage where they were going to be executing the upgrade and be marching towards that finish line. But they really needed somebody to look at their plans, validate, and give them that comforting feeling that the plan that they have put together is actually something that will help them be successful with the upgrade. So we'll talk about the AMIGO program, which really focused on those two areas. Then we'll talk about the Insight Solutions Planning Workshop offered by our professional services organization. And the third Premier Upgrade Program, this is something that's not available yet. We hope that this will be generally available to our customers in 2 to 3 months time frame. And Live Upgrade Program, again, is offered by professional services, and we'll talk about that. So the AMIGO program, it stands for basically Assisted Migration Operation. This is a program that has been in Remedy now for about 2 years. While this has been in Remedy for 2 years, it's not necessarily new to BMC. At other product lines who have been offering this program to their customers for several years now. So we have a lot of good muscle memory and knowledge built up over the years from working with customers on upgrades. And it really consists of two phases, right? The ones that I just talked about, where a customer has just learned that they've got some money to be able to do an upgrade, and they want to understand what that roadmap looks like. They're not looking for turn-by-turn directions yet, but they want to understand what that roadmap is like. So it's really simple. All you have to do is open a support ticket with BMC and say, hey, I'm looking for some assistance in the AMIGO program. And the first phase of it is the starter phase, which is where you get to review some collateral, some best practice docs that have been put together. Some of it is new material, some of it is just combined into one location. We also, as we studied our customers, we learned that, oftentimes the information relating to upgrades is dispersed in several different places. So we have now combined all of those different materials into one location. Once you open the support ticket and you explain your environment information and stuff, we can share with you the collateral, or that's something actually available on our community site, and you can access it even before you open that, so you've reviewed it. But the net outcome of the starter phase is that during that support ticket that's open, we'll ask you some questions, make sure you've had the opportunity to review the collateral and answer questions. By the end of that conversation, or by the end of the starter phase, what you will have is an understanding of what the roadmap looks like. You know, do you need to head north? Is it northwest? You know, what kind of supplies do you need to take along with you on the trip? Just to draw that analogy. The next step after that, once the starter phase is complete and we close that ticket out at that point, after we've had that conversation with our customers, the customers will now have enough information to start building a documented plan, right? And a documented plan will have obviously several stages. Some of them might be very unique to your own company, where different styles of UAT may be adopted and such, so there's not specific guidance from our end on it. That's something that you will tailor to your organization. Now, there may be a timeline of, for some customers, 3 weeks, and for some people it may be 3 months before they have an upgrade plan that is ready. Once you've got an upgrade plan that's ready, you can come back to BMC support and open a ticket and say, hey, we went through the starter phase. We're now in the phase where we would like to review our plan with some of the BMC experts, and we will then do exactly that. We will take your documented plan, review it with you, give you some feedback. There may be some reinforcement of some of the steps to say, yes, on that step number 14, please make sure that backup is taken. If it's not, it could lead to a roadblocker down the path, or we might identify some red flags and help you understand what are some of the risks and how to mitigate that. And then the outcome from that is expected once we've reviewed is that you can now take that plan and go execute your upgrade. So just want to make sure that we haven't oversimplified an upgrade, right? So there may be several phases that occur between starter and review for our customer. For example, downloading the software, doing an install in a test environment, and maybe running a test upgrade on a sandbox where there's, you know, not a whole lot of data or users that are going to be interacting with that system. In case you run into any problems, technical issues with that, the recommendation is to utilize the regular support channel and simply open a regular technical support issue, not an AMIGO issue, and say, hey, I'm doing an install and it's failing on step 4 and I need assistance, and we can then route it to the appropriate technical support teams and you through that process. Now, AMIGO is available to all customers who are current on their maintenance, i.e. have a valid support contract. There's no additional fee for getting into this program or utilizing it. The next upgrade option that I want to talk about is the Insight Solutions Planning Workshop. This is a paid offering, which is offered by Professional Services, and it's really a lot of value add in addition to what you would have received just from doing the AMIGO process. It's a 1-week engagement, and some of the outcomes of that engagement is that a BMC architect and BMC project manager will come to your location on site, will spend a week with you guys, understand your environment, and by the end of it you will have a documented upgrade plan, and they'll be able to clearly align some of your business needs and IT capabilities, talk about your architectural requirements, and a very important thing that I want to point out here is that a question we get a lot in support is, what is the scope and effort required? For example, how many hours of UAT should we plan, or how many people should we have in participate in the UAT? And a lot of those things are very site specific, and when our consultants from professional services are on site, they're able to gather all of that information from you and then make recommendations based on their experience. Our team of professional services obviously is the most experienced in the industry. They do this, they do end-to-end upgrades all the time, so they're able to understand your needs compared to some of their past experiences and give you guidance on that. So the deliverables, again, just to recap here, are you will have a solution design document. They will talk about architectural recommendations, which often is also a important element in the planning is the architecture piece. You know, what type of, there are different types of architectures that may be well suited for different organizations, and our professional services consultants can talk about it. Another important element here is obviously Remedy is a development platform as well, and you can do a lot of customizations on top of the Remedy AR server. And when it comes time for an upgrade, there's a lot of consideration on what happens to my customizations. Are they all going to carry over? There are also questions on, do I need to keep all these customizations? Are there options available out of the box in the new version in Remedy 9 that I'll be able to utilize? And within the solution planning workshop, the consultants will be able to give specific guidance on your customizations and integrations and how they will translate into Remedy 9. The Premier Upgrade Program, this is something that is not generally available yet, but it will be soon enough, so we thought it would be good to talk about this and share some information with our customers on this. This is an offering that will be primarily driven by our support organization, and it will be available to customers in 2 to 3 months. So before I talk more about this, let me take a step back. And so once let's say you're a customer and you purchase the solution planning workshop, and now you have a deep understanding of the type of UAT you need to do, you have a clear documented upgrade plan, and you understand the size, scope required to get there. Now the next stage is executing against those plans, right? And there are a lot of moving parts to an upgrade, and we recognize that even with some of the best plans, there can be some bumps along the road where you will need some focused attention and get that resolved. So to be able to kind of plug that gap, or we have this program that we're designing and working on, and it should be available in a couple of months, is the Premier Upgrade Program, where there will be Premier technical support available during the upgrade implementation. Basically, a group of designated folks will be assigned to that particular account, and when you're doing the upgrade and run into any roadblocks and you need to open a support ticket, you will utilize the regular channels to open the support ticket, but it'll go to a group of designated engineers that will be working with you. So when you open those tickets during the period of the upgrade, you're not always starting with the explanation of, hey, I'm on Remedy 8.1 today, I'm going to 9, here's my environment, and all that. That group of people will already know all that information, and having worked some previous tickets with you will have that knowledge as well, and will be able to provide some focused attention and hopefully expedite resolution as in the process. There will also be a support account manager, and their role will not be necessarily to provide technical assistance, but they will be there to facilitate all support activities during that upgrade time frame, such as, you know, if there's multiple tickets that are open and they will be able to provide summaries on that and measure that against your project timeline goals and make sure that there's a clear understanding of resolution agenda for those open tickets. So upgrades we also did a study, so how long should this be offered to the customers, and we found that 3 months is a good sweet spot. Once you've started implementing your upgrade against the plan that you have from the solutions planning workshop, typically we find that it takes about 3 months for customers to get through the plan, and So this program is intended to be available for a period of 3 months. This will again be a paid offering, and pricing and a lot of those other details will be made available to our customers when this program goes live in just about 2 to 3 months. The live upgrade program, so this is basically the traditional professional services offering, which is end-to-end upgrades that our professional services will come in, the team will come in and offer. On the average, you know, the engagements are in about 10 weeks or can be as much as maybe 24 to 26 weeks depending on the complexity of the environment. And this is the full package, right? This is, again, obviously a paid offering from professional services. And the Insight Solutions Planning Workshop will be included here, the staged server environment. They'll actually execute the upgrade, work through any problems, look at your workflows and integrations, and take it to the finish line and then some. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit more about on the technical side of things and about the Remedy 9 upgrade paths, and I'll turn it back over to Greg here.
Thank you, Basil. And before I start the Remedy 9 upgrade paths, I just wanted to introduce again Doug Reif.
Hi, everybody. This is Doug Reif. I'm the global lead for the Remedy AR System platform support team. And in just a few minutes, I'll be talking about maybe some of the lessons learned and give you some tips on doing your own upgrade. So back to you, Greg.
Great. Thanks, Doug. So what we wanted to do, in addition to what options are available to you to upgrade to Remedy 9, is just understand what are the paths. You know, there's several different versions out there, and so we just wanted to kind of take you through at a high level some of the paths. And so to start at probably anything older than 7604, our pre-7604 path, just to highlight some of the items that are needed if you're coming from an older version. One thing is to go to 9.0, an intermediate upgrade is needed. So you would have to upgrade to 8.1 first and then upgrade to 9.0. Since pre-7604, overlays did not exist, so that is something you would need to also use our BPCU utility to actually create these overlays to prepare you for 9.0 and really convert any customizations or extensions of the product to overlays so they're easily identified, and then any upgrades that happen, you're able to reconcile any of those customizations very easily. With the 7604 path, if you're on that, 7604 SP2 is the minimum supported version to upgrade to 9.0 directly. And in here, some of the changes that are done, high level, our ITSM-CI attributes are removed from CMDB, and they're just within the ITSM system. Also, there was a multi-tenancy update that is going to occur once you upgrade to 9.0. And next version would be an 8.0 version. And within here, one of the challenges or steps that you would need to take would be to convert any overlays that you have into granular overlays. That was something new introduced in 8.1 that helps you not only overlay an object, but put that customization down to the finest grain or specific object that was changed. So it allows you to only overlay that particular aspect of it. So instead of a global or a overreaching overlay, it's something that could be targeted to make it very small footprint for your overlay. That's something that would need to be done once you upgrade to 9.0 from 8.0. And the last is our 8.1 version. And once you go to 9.0, smart reporting onboarding would need to be done. Also within 9.0, a new CDM flattening to make some of the CMDB options a little more efficient. And then also any customizations that you have would be reconciled using a new three-way reconciliation tool. Now, anything that was listed for the higher version, so if I'm on 7604, in addition to some of those options listed there, also I would have to convert any overlays to granular, as well as the 8.1 options of doing the smart reporting onboarding, the CDM flattening, and with all version upgrades, you would need to reconcile any customizations. So these are just, again, high level of the paths that you would take and some of the features or options that you would need to do before, once you get onto the 9.0 release. And now I'm going to turn it over to Doug, and he's going to actually dig a little deeper into these different paths to tell us some lessons learned and options that you need to take.
Hey, thanks, Greg. So this slide really is a little bit of information, tips and things that we've learned in the field. And Greg and I have been working with customers on the AMIGO program for a couple years, and we get to see how a lot of customers actually do their upgrades and get ideas on what works and what doesn't work. And for the pre-7604, so we're talking 7603 or 7.5 or earlier versions of it, we see customers spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to map the old functionality into new functionality. And one of the things that we've seen be a lot easier, maybe a lot better use of time, is to stand up a brand new environment. So the recommendation might be to stand up a brand new Remedy 9 environment and just migrate the foundation data. So instead of trying to worry about how is the 7.1 upgrade going to work, and there is a staged, or there is a multiple step process. You need to get the 7604 SP2 first. So there's going to be different stages that you need to do. If you just get to the point where you install Remedy 9 with all the apps brand new and you configure it, and then you spend your time worrying about how to map the data, that can often be a more effective and more better use of your time. One thing to remember is the UI and the feature and functionality are going to be quite a bit different between the Remedy 9 apps and then whatever your original app was. So if you're looking at 7.1 apps, the look and feel and the functionality is quite a bit different. So it's really hard to, when you're thinking about how to reconcile your customizations, it almost, in some cases, can be just a real daunting task. And in those cases, it might be less daunting to simply start fresh with Remedy 9 and just map your data over. And I say it saves time not having to perform two upgrades. So essentially, you're just performing a brand new install and migrating data. You don't have to worry about any of the remediation steps or issues. One of the things you don't have to worry about is some of the platform versions or the vendor versions like Oracle or SQL Server. You might have to do multiple steps of those. Install Oracle 10G as an upgrade and then get to Oracle 11 as part of your multi-step upgrade, which you'd get to avoid that going this route. So this is just something we've seen customers really benefit from is doing this route, and so I just want to pose it to you for consideration if you have to go that way. If you are upgrading from 7.604 8.0 or 8.1, it's a little bit easier. As Greg mentioned, there's a minimum 7.604 SP2 you need to be on. So if you're not quite on SP2, then you'll need to get there first. And the first thing we want to direct you to is the new ITSM 9.0 deployment portal. This is a new page on our Wikidocs, our online documentation, and it's been going through sort of a revamping maybe for the last year or so, and as of the release of 9, it really is a wonderful, very visual, easy to use documentation on how to do your installs and upgrades with 9.0. So highly recommend that you look at that deployment portal. In a reference page later in this presentation, we have a link to it so you can get right there. As you're upgrading to 9.0, you need to make sure that you look through the documentation and understand what the enhancements and new features are. For example, smart reporting is a new feature. If you're going to make use of that, you'll need to understand what are the steps involved. You do need to perform an onboarding step in order to make use of that. Archiving is a huge new feature you might be able to take advantage of, so you'll want to review the documentation, understand what that means to you. Perhaps you already have a custom archiving or a partner-built archiving solution, and if you're going to use the out-of-box one that's introduced in 9.0, you'll want to understand how that works and how you can use it in your environment. Lastly, another something very important you want to do is you do need to go through a customization or reconciliation step. 9.0 is going to make changes to 7.604, 8.0, and 8.1, and you need to understand how those customizations are going to, how those changes are going to affect your customizations. It's possible that some new features that we've introduced will make it so that you can ignore some of your customizations. I think a lot of customers are finding that 9.0 has a lot of really good functionality, and some of their customizations that they've been keeping for years and trying to and modify and tune for the new apps, maybe some of those can go away. So that's all part of when you're planning your 9.0 upgrade. Do review the docs, review the enhancements and features, and then understand what you need to keep and what you don't need to keep carrying on for year after year. And and then that hopefully will make for an easier upgrade and an easier deployment of 9.0. And Greg, that's about all I had to say.
Great, thank you, Doug. And, one thing to Doug's point, I just think that's so important is this new ITSM deployment portal. It was first launched with our 8.1 release and has been since improved with the 9.0 release. There's a lot of information in there. It is interactive. That starts at a high level, takes you down to, task detail, and it is a good tool to use, and it also is a good repository to find all the new features, functions, and details on any step that you may need to take on reconciling customizations, onboarding the smart reporting. And so it's really something more of a tool and a good resource to help you plan and execute your upgrade. So something, a good point to review. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Basil to take us through the summary.
Okay, thank you, Greg. So just to kind of start wrapping up and summarizing what we covered today, we reviewed the Remedy 9 upgrade options, which the three options we covered: the AMIGO program, we've got the Insight Solutions Planning Workshop from our professional services, which is a very in-depth one-on-one planning exercise with your company, and then of course the full-blown professional services that has always been available is available, and the Premier Upgrade Program that should be available in a couple of months. We went through a high-level summary of the Remedy 9 technical upgrade paths that are available, and the review of the ITSM 9.0 deployment portal. I just want to highlight about the 9.0 deployment portal. We've had several customers who've actually gone through this portal and have come back and given us very good feedback on the interactive nature of this. This is not just a static flow chart, but is very interactive and goes into visual details about what some of the upgrade screens will look like through the several steps that we have. So highly recommend to go through that. Now, some important links here you can take a note of or take a screenshot of here that talk about some of the stuff that we covered today. If you need information on AMIGO, you can simply go to communities.bmc.com and just type Remedy AMIGO and you'll find it, or you can utilize the link that is up here. The deployment upgrade portal is also available through our BMC documentation page, which for those of you who are familiar with the BMC support page, once you're on the support page, you can link off to the documentation from there, or you can use the link that's available here. There is a Remedy 9 blog that is kind of live discussion going on Remedy 9. So there's a blog, and obviously people are commenting back on what they've utilized from it and their experiences. And the last two links will talk to the Premier Support Services and the BMC Professional Services that can help you in getting to 9.0. And finally, you can find all of this information documented in this knowledge article. And for those of you who are familiar with the BMC support page, you just go to bmc.com/support, click on the knowledge base link and key in this knowledge article ID of 425596. So with that, we kind of conclude today's session, and we want to maybe ask the audience here if they've got any questions for us.
As a reminder, all lines are open.
Basil, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Is the AMIGO program cost-based, or is this a free service?
Yeah, so there's no additional charge for it. Basically, if as a customer, if you're current on your maintenance, that i.e. you've got a valid support contract, then that's all you need, and it's really simple to engage into this program. There's no nomination process or anything. Simply open a support ticket and we can guide you through it, or just to be better prepared before you open a support ticket, go to the BMC communities. I'll go back to the link here on the previous page and really get a head start on the collateral and the best practice docs, and then open an AMIGO ticket, and then our team of experts will have a call with you and your team and go through the best practices for an upgrade.
I have a question about the upgrade path. It looks like they're all relatively the same. You kind of presented the notion of not having to do 2 upgrades when it comes to 7604 if you do a standalone install of 9, but it kind of looks like when you are doing an upgrade path here, you're still having to set up a staging environment, and you're always doing a cutover. So it really looks like there's only really one path, and that is to, upgrade environments separately and then try to migrate all your data over, which can be a bit of a challenge if you have any sort of custom maps because your tool isn't going to map the data for us. Am I missing something in the bridge page there?
This is Doug. You're probably right that in general, if you are in a live production environment, we're going to recommend doing a staging server type of upgrade. When you're upgrading from pre-7604 SP2, you have to do a second. This is something that might have been alluded to but not clear, is that you do have to do an upgrade to get to 7604 SP2 first. So for some customers, there'll be an extra install to do that. But for many customers that are already on 764 SP2, they're going to set up a staging server, practice and perform the upgrade on that staging server, and then either go live with that or take that environment and move it into the existing live environment. I don't think I answered your question, but maybe you can follow up.
Yeah, I was just looking at the page, and it was basically just the upgrade page from the documentation site from docsbmc.com. So I don't know. I guess it was a little different than I was anticipating.
Where you, there still is a possibility to do an in-place upgrade where, for a lot of customers that, have a working production environment, the staging or the parallel type of upgrade is a lot less risk. It, with the, if you've looked at the three-way reconciliation feature in 9.0, have you seen that at all, the three-way reconciliation tool?
No, I haven't got a chance to look at that yet.
Okay, you should take a look at that. It makes, if you've upgraded to any version 7604 below 9, then you've probably had to participate in some kind of customization reconciliation project. 9.0 makes it a lot easier with this new tool. You're going to spend some time, but the tool makes life a lot easier. You reconcile your the changes that came with mine against the changes that you've made against what the original was, but you can see it all on one screen, all at the same time, and you can just pick and choose which ones you want to keep. So you would have had to go through that kind of process anyway, no matter what version you're going to go to, but this tool makes it, I mean, many, many times faster to do that. But probably you still will be doing it on a staging environment so that your production environment is live and available to your users the entire time until cutover.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
And,
Yeah,
and
no
one
problem.
just addition on there is, what you see on the doc portal, those are the best practice recommendation, as Doug mentioned, based on your change window or cutover windows that you may have with a parallel or stage server type of upgrade. You're able to do that in a separate environment. You aren't kind of bound by a small change window. You're able to get those upgrades in, do all the remediation that you reconciliation of customizations, test of integrations, and then at that point, the only portions that need to be done during the go live for the cutover window would be the DDM of, any of that transactional, the change data. And so that's in the portal when you see those different versions or, everything looks like a stage server, it's just showing you what the best practice or, the recommended process is for upgrading. But as Doug mentioned, a in place can be done for a platform. If you're going to divide up the upgrade, get on the AR system and CMDB to start with, that could be done more than likely in place, to get you on that first step into 9.0. So
Yeah.
hopefully that clarifies.
Yeah. I mean, I've done both types of upgrades before. I guess I thought when it was talking about different paths that the upgrade site would then have documentation on different paths. What are the advantages and disadvantages of going each way? Like if you upgrade just the AR system and the CMDB, or can you even do that? Is that supported type thing?
Yeah, that definitely is supported. It is, in the documentation that talks about that. That would be something more of something we refer to as like a mixed mode upgrade. So you can upgrade the AR system and CMDB. We call that kind of the foundation, if you will, of 9.0. And then if you want to have your ITSM applications downgraded until you're able to upgrade to 9.0, then there is a compatibility patch that you can apply. So then you're able to break it up if you need to and still get the advantages of the 9.0 server.
Sounds good. I take it
Yeah.
you can run over these options as part of the AMIGO program?
Absolutely.
Okay. Sounds
And
good.
so with that, just to re-clarify on the option, so if you are looking to upgrade, there's many options out there. You can do it on your own. You can just leverage the AMIGO and product documentation collateral. The AMIGO program, the benefit or the upside of it is any questions that you have such as this, we could work through, talk to. If there's something specific within your environment, then we can answer those questions more specifically as it relates to your environment versus more broad brush that, a lot of the documentation can only do. They don't have the ability to have all the different nuances that could be done. And so that's a big benefit of the AMIGO program. And then also your upgrade plan can be reviewed by support. Looking from a perspective of best practices, feedback can be provided just to ensure that, all the best practice steps are in there or any risk is understood if something isn't included. So there's a lot of good benefit to that program.
All right. Yep. Thanks for that.
And on behalf of BMC support, just wanted to thank you for your time to listen to our Remedy 9 upgrade options.
And once again, that does conclude today's conference. We'd like to thank everyone for their participation.
Now and forever, we bring IT to life.